So people, here's the truth, and can you handle the truth? The closer you get to this position, the better you hit it. The further away you are from this position, the worse you hit it. How close are you? Predominantly speaking, the less lag or the less angle that golfers have in the downswing, the worse the ball striking is. The higher the handicapper, the more it progressively breaks down, making it really difficult to become a consistent golfer. Well, what level are you currently at? Now, I created the lag wall for golfers to get a better understanding of where they need to be in their swing, but before we have a look at that and some of the best lag drills you've ever seen, there's one thing in your swing you have to have before you create lag. Well, let's have a look at that first.
So people, right, the important message here to get across to everyone is getting your wrist alignments set up correctly on the way back. It's very simple, but very powerful, and it's really going to help us get to part two, which is some great drills and exercises coming down into your downswing. But just to understand a little bit better what we're actually trying to do here with this trail wrist. Okay, so when we're moving the club away, you can see that that club head is set up on my spine angle, or it's set up to, if that was 12 o'clock, there'd be a clock over the face. From your side, it'd be 1 o'clock, and my side, 11. Now, to do that, what I've done is I've got the right wrist breaking back on itself, and this is a speed accumulator. All right, if we get this right hand working in the correct fashion, we're just going to have a quick look at a couple of moves here, and this is going to really set up your wrist alignments, which also helps you assemble your swings a little bit better at the top here, and we're going to get some great structure, and it just makes the downswing that even easier. So on the way back, you've got your right hand pointed downwards. It's breaking back on itself, okay? It's almost like when we're painting a wall here. We're getting this with a paintbrush. We're getting this right wrist to pick up in angle, but the palm is pointed down and away. Okay, now this will get the lead wrist flat, but this also helps us stay down with our shoulders. And when we get to the top of the swing, what it does is it'll really help keep your left shoulder down, and that way you can really pick up some angle in the back of this wrist, and so that you're getting some creases here in the skin on the back of this wrist. This is really setting yourself up to shallow out your plane with huge power and compression and speed. One of the great feels that you can use, you want to keep it simple, and this is one of the great ways, is to get this bullseye just to point away from you. So you've got that right hand breaking back on itself almost as far as it'll go, and this left shoulder moves down, and that way we can get ourselves to assemble the swing really, really well at the top at such a powerful and strong position. So hi everyone, right, creating better angles coming down. Let's have a talk about this. First thing to notice, right, we'll just go through a couple of things. You can't have an open club face. So if I just close that club face here and I add some shaft lean, the club face is square, right? So we want to get around 10, 12, 15 degrees of shaft lean with your iron shots. And when we're looking at an open club face, if I add shaft lean, and if I add lag, I'm just going to open up the face. So what we're seeing a lot of the time is people having to flip it and bring the club back to square here, which is not what we're after. So encouraging people that haven't played junior golf to go into that Fred Couples grip, which is around a 3 knuckle grip, turning the hand in. You're going to get more play and movement out of that joint. You can see that this club face pointing up towards 1 o'clock, because when we start to add in the angle, the club's going to come back and it's going to be in a square position. It's going to be pointing between 12 and 1. And we want to be able to get that club face coming in still square with the shaft lean. All right, it's almost like how this is a good to visualize how someone paints a wall. You know, getting that movement in, closing up this gap. Now let me show you how you can practice this. And I recommend, because it's a difficult move, half swings at the start, just to get an idea of how that's working. What we're going to do is you're going to grip it nice and loose, turn the hand into a 3 knuckle grip. As I said, you'll get some more play and movement out of that joint. What we're doing with this drill essentially is we're starting in the address position, and when you're coming back to impact, you're going to have more shaft lean than what you started at. And then you'll start to get a motion like this. It's almost like that paintbrush move. Once again, starting here with a little bit of shaft lean, but coming into impact with more. And if you can see my hands and how they're moving now, you'll see that the hands are starting to create this type of motion. That lead wrist moving in to flexion, the right wrist into extension, almost like how a fish's tail moves when it swims. Also closing up this gap as we're coming down. That's going to be one of the drills and exercises. And just by starting off with a half swing, you might see a little bit of angle in this as I move down. It's almost like when you're flicking a towel. And we've got so many drills and exercises on World Class Golf Instruction in the Lag series. This is just part of it. But you'll just see, I'll just hit one here and you'll see the movement just with a half swing. You'll probably see the lag angle as I bring the club back down with a little bit more shaft lean. Just a small swing here. It's just nice and soft, and we start to add in just a little bit of lag and angle, just like you're painting that wall, and that will just bring in some more feel, some more flow, and it really just bringing that shaft back, starting at the start and bringing it back to more shaft lean, closing up the gap on the way down. We start to get that lag and get good contact and good compression. So guys, right, got a great deal here, 30% off everything on World Class Golf Instruction, 1,400 videos, swing analysts, online lessons, the things that we're not showing on YouTube. And it's going for a very, very short period of time, 30% off everything on World Class Golf Instruction. Don't miss out. Jump on the link underneath in the description box, and seriously, we'll get you playing much, much better golf.
Hi, I'm Dr. Rob Neal. I want to go through a progression of drills and activities that will allow you to really start to develop a good transition, lag, and then excellent impact, leaning the shaft forward. It's about the best one around. Series of progressions. So take the club back to about P2. What does P2 mean? Club parallel with the ground, about 60 degrees of shoulder turn. It's not just don't turn the body and put your hands over here. So turn your chest and your hips. From the target line, this view here. Make sure that the club face is pointing a little down, or the leading edge of the club is parallel with your spine. From P2 here, I want you to then flex your lead wrist, shift onto your front foot, and then push up and pivot, making sure you finish over here. So you can do this first without a golf ball. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then ultimately you can do that with a golf ball. So 1, 2, 3, 4.
So people, let's have a look at Doc Neal here as he flexes this lead wrist, and look how he sets up this club through the trail forearm. It's really important to notice here, getting in front of mirrors or filming this with your mobile phone. What it does, it just gets this shaft in such a great position, sets it up on a wonderful plane, and it really helps shallow out this golf club coming down. Look at that lead wrist, just slightly flexed, slightly bowed, and that helps to set up just a wonderful delivery into the back of the golf ball.
Once you've done the progression where you stop, we can start taking some of the stops out. So P2 and stop. And now we go flex and shift, stop, then rotate through. The next progression would be stop at P2. Now this is the last stop, so we go shift and rotate to our finished position. All right, from down the target line, that would look like this. So out to P2, flex, shift, and rotate. And then finally, the whole movement without any stops would look something like that, this. And again, right? Start small and then build into longer and longer swings.
So guys, one of the things I love about this hack motion for my own game is I love to be able to shallow the club out down the bottom quite a bit. It just helps me hit the ball much better, and to do that I like to get my lead wrist to move into a flex position, and you can hear the biofeedback, hear the sound, and I set it between -5 and -10, which means The lead wrist, when it's an extension, it's in a plus number, right? If it gets to 0, it's pretty flat, but if it bows a little bit, it moves into a minus. And that's what I get the feedback. And you can use your mobile phone, you got it on the screen in front of you, you use your iPad, you got a little stand like this, and you can get in there and really feel where that club's coming down. And if I open up the face, it's gone. And then of course you can hit a shot and you got your feedback. Guys, if this is it's just a no-brainer. If you're working with evidence-based instruction, and if you're serious about improving your golf, this is just a great thing to do. Hack motion, you've got the V1 Golf to film your swing. You can jump on WorldClassGolf.com. You've got online lessons. I can teach you personally. There's Zoom calls, there's Skype calls, it's just really getting people on a great path. And looking at WorldClassGolf.com, we're improving people on average, and this is the truth, between 4 and 11 shots. The people that are taking online lessons, the people that are on that platform, and recommending something like this hack motion. Jump into the link there. There's a discount code for you. You're going to get it cheaper and get on the path to playing some great golf with some evidence-based instruction. We need to get some pressure on the golf ball. We want to stop standing up on it and flipping it. Now, this position, what I'm talking about is really from the top of the swing, this elbow closing up and this lead leg having some flex in it. Now we want to be just pushing slightly downwards, closing up this gap from the top of the swing. The wider that you have this gap, the more that you lose angle, the more that you'll tend to stand up and flip fat shots, thin shots. And when this lead leg remains bent, it will tend to move further forwards. If it straightens too quickly, we tend to spin out of it and we get some troubles there, and lack of compression. Moving slowly down, there's your exercise, closing up the gap and having some bend or some flex in that lead leg. It's just such an important area, bringing this club down. It helps us recenter, and you've got plenty of time then later to straighten. We're not straightening up too early with this lead leg. You're going to get yourself in a lot of different troubles there with your iron shots.